Kate is in the hospital. As we've said, the Duchess is dealing with hyperemesis, which is an extreme, actually, they say an extreme form of morning sickness, but our colleague Sharyn Alfonsi says you can't even make a comparison. You went through the same condition through both of your pregnancies.
I did. I was a fool not once, but twice.
It sounds absolutely miserable.
It's tough. You know, people talk about morning sickness. This isn't morning sickness. You're sick in the morning, you're sick in the afternoon, you're sick at night. And like, I think typically with morning sickness, you get, sick in the morning a couple times. I was sick a dozen times a day, 2 dozen times a day at the worst, to the point that you end up, on an IV because you can't get the nutrients you need, you can't keep food down. It's scary.
You actually fainted a couple of times.
I fainted a couple times. It was so dramatic. But you can't eat. You're trying to eat. You're trying to drink stuff. You're trying to have Gatorade. And you can't keep anything down. Even prenatal vitamins. You try to take a prenatal vitamin, and you couldn't get that down. And I remember trying to keep the prenatal vitamin down, thinking, like, if I can just keep this down for a second, the baby's going to get what it needs. But ultimately, you just end up on an IV.
At what stage in your pregnancy did it begin?
I feel like 2 seconds after I got pregnant, but I don't think that's actually correct. I think it started for me about 2 months, and it lasted with my son till I was 6 or 7 months, and with my daughter even longer.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
And George, you were telling me that Allie had it.
So many memories.
Allie's began when she was 6 to 8 weeks pregnant.
Right away with Elliot, with our first daughter, and we had the IV, the fainting, the hospital, the whole thing, and then even with Harper too, our second daughter, it wasn't quite as bad, but she tried everything. She tried acupuncture, all kinds of treatment. And nothing works.
That's the thing. All your well-meaning friends will say, try sucking on a lemon, acupuncture. Someone told me if you got hit by a hot mop, it would help.
Ginger.
Right. So I let them do it.
You let them?
I did. I was willing to try it. Now I'm just afraid of, Murphy's oil. I have an aversion to that. But none of that stuff worked. And and saying to somebody saltines or ginger ale, that doesn't work either.
This is a whole different level. Very quickly, we keep seeing that video. We just played it a moment ago of Kate playing hockey, field hockey, a couple days ago. I saw you working throughout your pregnancy. Yeah. How are we seeing video of her functioning normally, and now 2 days later in the hospital this sick?
I mean, it can turn just that quickly. You'd be walking. I remember walking to the studio knowing where every single trash can was, just in case. And I imagine she's going to have those kind of eyes through her pregnancy.
Oh, gosh. All right, Sharyn, thank you so much. Charming. Thanks for the details.